Mirrors and Dreams, Book 2 of the Unseen Scar series, written and narrated by C.R. Saxon. Chapter 16. I'd never know this place burned down. Pink eyes soaked up everything in the building's center lab as she rubbed aching hands. It looked exactly the way it always did, only shinier, newer. It didn't seem possible, but between the energists, athletes, and scientists, getting a building like this built and stocked in a month was simple. She checked the time. He's late. But Elby was never late. When it came to punctuality, he was as anal as Master Ferdinan. Did something happen? Is he okay? Gloved hands returned the screen to her bag. These were really weird. Not just the goopy material they were made from, but they didn't feel like gloves. If not for the black sheen, she'd forget they were there. If only forgetting the pain was so easy. Would they let me continue wearing it on the rest of my body? They stopped wrapping her in it shortly before releasing her from isolation. But Yu wished they hadn't. Seeing her skin. They focused on her face and hands, and she was grateful. If she looked in the mirror and saw a face twisted and melted from fire, it took swallowing hard to stop that line of thought. Sighing, Yu shook her head. He should be here by now. There had to be something wrong. Turning, she headed outside to find Elby standing at the tree line, staring at the building. Why is he just standing there? It took getting closer to realize he was shaking. Mismatched eyes glanced down at his hands before returning to the lab building. Sometimes he'd lift a foot, but it wouldn't go anywhere, ending up where it started. When she waved, he didn't respond, just kept looking between his hands and the building. Elby! She called out again, hurrying up to him. Relief eased his strained expression when he noticed her. I'm sorry. Why? Yu nearly rolled her eyes at herself. She didn't remember anything that happened. The three of them were running around playing while Zhao put together lunch. Then she was staring at a ceiling she didn't recognize. What was it like? How scared was he? I was told he stayed and tried pulling me out. She loved him for that. No matter how much credit she gave herself, Yu wasn't sure she'd be brave enough to stay. We don't... Every word vanished. What was I thinking? Saying? Looking around. The building. It was about the building. We don't have to meet here if it's too difficult. No, it's fine. I just need to try harder. Elby fidgeted at his island sister's disappointed look. You wanted to talk. I told Master Ludwig I was helping you, so we have a while. Yu looked down at her gloved hands. Focus on the thought. Hold it in my hands. Really? If we have that long? Then, tell me about what happened. I don't remember anything after meeting Zhao and Rura for lunch. Every ounce of color left Elby's skin. It took her nudging him to get him talking. I'm sorry. My mind wandered. Guess it's too beautiful a day to concentrate. Elby couldn't look at her when she frowned. We took Rura to the lab, and there was a chemical explosion, but Ferdinan saved us. I already... Focus on Elby. That's where the thought is. I already know that much. That's all that matters. Elby gestured to the skin-tight black gloves. You need to focus on healing. It took a bit, but Yu focused on Elby, anchored every word to his presence. Knowing won't impact my healing. There isn't anything more worth knowing. Elby's eyes pleaded for her to stop. What was it you wanted to talk about? Blowing out of breath, she took the screen from her bag and focused on it. I told you about Master Ferdinand's offer to help with my schoolwork and projects till my hands were healed? A worried smile bloomed on Elby's face. It was tempting, but... There's so much he's struggling with. Adding to that burden. Yu sighed. I'm adding to Elby's burden too. I shouldn't ask. I would love to help you, if you'd let me. Yu wasn't sure if she should frown or smile, but she brought her full mind to Elby. I was going to ask you, but it looks like you're struggling too. No, I'm not. Stepping forward, Elby brought his hands together. I can help. I want to. Elby, I love you. You're a wonderful little brother, which is why I can't let you become like Master Ferdinan. I'm not. I'm fine. Everything is okay. You can't enter the main lab. You look like you haven't slept in weeks. Master Ferdinan is wonderful. He's kind and always trying to help others, but he's never taken care of himself. He always tries doing everything on his own. Pink eyes drifted to the building, taking all her words with her. This was exhausting, frustrating. Ferdinan, the screen. Does everything on his own, even when it's hurting him. I might not be able to help Master Ferdinan, but I won't be the reason you end up hurt. Seconds stretched as Elby searched for words. Please, let me help you. Elby. Yu stood taken aback by the desperation in Elby's voice. Please, I want to help. Her island brother's expression wasn't one she could ignore. It'll be easier to help him if we're spending more time together. Maybe this was true, or maybe she was justifying her answer. I'll find someone else if you keep struggling. I won't worry you like that. Relief danced on his lips. Thank you. Then what will you do? Yu asked. Elby hesitated. What should I do? Enjoy your 3 back-to-back breaks, slacker? Denalia teased the approaching Zephyr. Wish I could relax like that. I'll trade you places next time. Golden hands held out, one tapped the other, then moved the second out of the way. She gave her lifelong friend and rival a hug. It's been boring without my sparring buddy. I'd rather you beat me every day than live through that again. Golden hands danced in time with his words. A wave of her hand gestured the prince to sit before her. What was wrong? I don't know. It hit suddenly and left the same way. No, recently. Missing class right after returning is bad. Looking away did little to hide his flushed cheeks. Everyone gets sick. Drop it. Denalia slugged Zephyr's shoulder. I want the boy who always teased with me, but I'm glad you're better. Thanks. Zephyr looked back at her and snorted. But I'll never be able to take a samurai mermaid seriously. Laughter doubled her over. Now that's the spoiled prince I remember. She didn't send me away. After what happened with him last block, being treated the same was a relief. Time to make up for your vacation. Oh, one hand came forward as if offering a present. You, me, 10 miles to the main island, as the fish swims. In one motion, she stripped down to her favorite swimsuit. Zephyr sniggered and showed he came prepared. This made her laugh. You know me so well? Well, 10 miles as a fish and another 13 to the guest apartments. Huh. 17 along the beach to the guest apartments. Zephyr folded his arms, giving her the cockiest, most self-assured smug face he could. Challenge accepted. Denalia grabbed his hand and dragged him to the water. 3, 2, 1. Why does he keep passing out? It wasn't normal sleep that took her friend. It was as if he was sedated. And it wasn't just him being tired. The infection eating away at his chest was different. It stopped spreading, but it was growing denser, darker, and it was one of many things she didn't understand. How did you use voice reacher in a land she'd built for Zephyr? And why could the boy hear her too? What was her dear friend doing to himself? When would the golden boy stop running from what he was? How much of this is my fault? A drowsy Ferdinan sat up and scanned the horizon until blue crystals stopped at a tree Oya was leaning against. Can he see me? To test this, she waved at him. He waved back. He noticed me enter his lab through the window, too. What changed? Testing one more time, she subtly motioned him over. Ferdinan gave a pathetic smile, forced himself to his feet, and approached. Interesting. But how? And would she find answers to all her questions? Good evening, Oya. Hi! Setting aside her concerns, she grinned. There was the most magnificent yellow butterfly. What made it magnificent? A bony hand batted at his ear, but he smiled and sat down. Emil. It was as big as my head, bright yellow and outlined in white with tiny blue dots. How did a Torasaba make it this far out? Tired eyes unfocused and drifted far away. Delicate fingers played with the chain at her neck. Don't fall asleep again. Want another chance to beat me in a foot race? You've yet to conquer. How generous. Winking, Ferdinan leaped to his feet and dashed off. I love it when he plays. Oya bolted after him, giggles filling the warm night air, but soon his feet faltered and his eyes drooped. Catching him, she laid him on a soft patch of grass. What are you doing to yourself? Inhuman green eyes turned to the stars above. How many more hours would he sleep? And a thought hit, and Oya felt foolish for not thinking it sooner. If she can reach through dreams to call to me, then... Now to find the fisherman. What do you think? It's happened twice. That should be evidence enough. Delicate hands tugged at the rectangular steel locket hanging around her neck. I doubt it, but you know how to check. The fisherman sat beside Oya atop several tethered logs, but his eyes were glued to the colorful horizon. I was hoping for deeper insight, Oya complained. I can't say after what you did to her brain. Fair enough. Not wanting to argue, she changed topics. If Black Diamond were to shatter, would it damage the mind? You mean the barrier he's hiding behind? Yes. The question you should ask, the fisherman turned serious eyes to her, is why do people fortify their surroundings? To protect against attacks? Or to hide while they lick their wounds? Oya pursed her lips. I'll agree with that. And how long will they keep those fortifications? Until the threat's gone, or they feel safe enough to leave. Frowning, Oya laid back. Her fingers tickled the water's surface. And if you try destroying those defenses? That wasn't a thought Oya appreciated. I understand. But do you? Yes. There has to be something I can do. Rolling to her side, she moved on. You know, I thought he'd be the king of everything. Or maybe the vain man. It never occurred to me he was the drunkard. Zephyr? Yes. Sitting up, Oya asked her next question. How does one access forgotten memories? Forgotten or repressed? A white eyebrow rose high over one eye. That attitude Oya could do without. I guess they'd be repressed, things he doesn't want to know. Forcing one to face such things can damage their mind. I won't force him to remember anything. I'll simply give him the option. How much do you enjoy confronting yourself? And he'll have to face more than a wall to gain access to those memories. I know that much. Clearing his throat, the fisherman warned again. Depending on what he's locked away, and how deeply it affects him, you could seriously damage this boy. Then he isn't fit to rule, or be my friend's cousin. Oya." Whatever the man was about to say, he changed his mind. "What progress have you made?" Holding up her hand, she showed him the woven strands, multiple colors interlaced, forming something between a thick thread and a thin cord. How long until she could call it a rope?